Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling? Your mind isn't quiet. Instead, it's racing, playing out 100 different scenarios about tomorrow, next week, or next year. It's that deep, unsettling feeling in the pit of your stomach. A fear of what hasn't yet arrived. A profound sense of uncertainty that can feel paralyzing. What if I don't get the job? What if this relationship fails? What if my health takes a turn? What if I can't pay my bills? These what ifs can build a prison around us, brick by brick, until the future feels less like an open horizon and more like a looming threat. If you've ever felt this way, please know you are not alone. This fear of the future, this anxiety about the great unknown, is a fundamental part of the human experience. Our brains are wired to seek patterns, to crave certainty. We want to know what's around the corner so we can prepare. So, when we look ahead and see nothing but fog, our internal alarm bells start ringing. It's a natural survival instinct. But when that instinct goes into overdrive, it doesn't protect us. It just steals our peace. It's like trying to drive a car through an incredibly dense fog. You can only see a few feet in front of you. Every shadow looks like a potential danger, and your instinct is to either slam on the brakes and stop completely, or to tense up, gripping the steering wheel so hard your knuckles turn white. In our lives, this translates to feeling stuck, unable to make decisions. Or, we live with a constant, low-grade hum of anxiety, unable to enjoy the present moment because we're so worried about the next. But what if there was a different way to navigate that fog? What if the goal wasn't to magically see the entire road ahead, but to trust that the road is actually there, and that it leads somewhere good? There is an ancient piece of wisdom, a promise written down thousands of years ago, that speaks directly to this very fear. It was written not to people living in comfort and ease, but to a people who had lost everything. Their homes, their nation, and their future as they knew it. They were living in the fog, in the deepest uncertainty imaginable. And into that darkness, these words were spoken as a beacon of light. The words come from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11. And they are some of the most powerful and comforting words ever recorded. They say, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Let's just let that sink in for a moment. This isn't just a nice, sentimental quote to put on a coffee mug. To truly understand its power, we have to understand the context. The prophet Jeremiah was writing this letter to the people of Israel who had been conquered by the Babylonians. They were forcibly marched from their homeland and were now living as exiles in a foreign, hostile land. Imagine their state of mind. They were defeated, displaced, and demoralized. Their future looked utterly bleak. They had every reason to believe that their story was over, that God had abandoned them, and that there was no hope left. They were afraid of the future because, from their perspective, there was no future worth having. And it's right into that specific, desperate situation that Jeremiah sends this message from God. This promise was forged in the fire of suffering and uncertainty. It was a lifeline thrown to a drowning people. Now, let's break it down, piece by piece, and see how it speaks directly to our own fears today. The verse begins, "For I know the plans I have for you." This first phrase directly confronts the core of our anxiety, the unknown. Our fear is rooted in the fact that we don't know the plans. We can't see the blueprint. We're standing on the construction site of our lives, and all we see is dirt, scaffolding, and a mess. We have no idea what the final building is supposed to look like. This verse doesn't promise that we will know the full plan. Instead, it offers a different kind of reassurance. It says that someone else knows. An architect, the master architect, has the full blueprint. The chaos we see is not chaos to him. The uncertainty we feel is not uncertain to him. There is a design. There is a purpose. Our story is not a series of random, meaningless events. It's a narrative being written by an author who already knows the ending. Think about that. The very thing that causes you fear, the unknown future, is fully known and held by a loving Creator. Then comes the declaration of authority, declares the Lord. This isn't Jeremiah's personal opinion. It's not wishful thinking or a motivational speech. It's presented as a direct declaration from the source of all power and all reality. This gives the promise its weight. It's a solemn, binding vow from the one who spoke galaxies into existence. It's the difference between a friend saying, "I'm sure things will work out," and the CEO of a company saying, "I have a specific, positive role for you here." One is a hopeful guess. The other is a statement of intent from the one in charge. Next, we get to the nature of these plans. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. This is where the promise fights back against our worst-case scenarios. Our anxious minds are brilliant at inventing disasters. We catastrophize. We imagine every possible way things could go wrong. This verse says, the ultimate intention behind the plan is not your harm. It's not to trip you up or to watch you fail. The intention is for your good. Now, it's important to understand what prosper means here. In the original Hebrew, the word is shalom. We often translate shalom as peace, but it's so much more than that. Shalom means wholeness, completeness, well-being, health, and flourishing in every aspect of life, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. This isn't a promise of a life without challenges or pain. The Israelites were still in exile when they heard this. It wasn't a magic wand that instantly fixed their situation. Rather, it's a promise that even within the struggles, even in the midst of the fog, God's ultimate plan is to weave everything together for our ultimate wholeness and good. It reframes our difficulties not as signs of abandonment, but as potential parts of a larger, redemptive story that leads to shalom. The plan is not to harm you. Your fear whispers that you'll be destroyed, but the promise declares that you will be built up. Finally, the verse concludes with the grand takeaway. Plans to give you hope and a future. This is the antidote. Fear of the future thrives in the soil of hopelessness. When we believe that tomorrow will be worse than today, anxiety takes root. This promise plants a different seed. The seed of hope. Hope is the confident expectation of future good. It's the belief that the story isn't over and that the best chapters have yet to be written. And the word, future, here is a direct rebuttal to the feeling of being stuck or finished. It's a declaration that your life has a destination. There is there you are heading toward, and it's a place of purpose and fulfillment. So, we have this incredible promise. It's powerful, it's contextual, it's profound. But how do we live in it? How do we take this truth from our heads and anchor it in our hearts, especially when the waves of anxiety are crashing over us? It's a practice. It's about shifting our focus and building a muscle of trust. The first step is to change our relationship with uncertainty. We will likely never have a life free from uncertainty. We will never be able to see the full road ahead. So, instead of fighting for a certainty we can't have, we can learn to find peace within the uncertainty. We do this by choosing to believe that the unknown is not an empty void, but a space filled with God's presence and purpose. It's the canvas on which His plans are painted. When you feel that fear of the unknown creeping in, you can consciously reframe it. Instead of thinking, "I don't know what's going to happen, and it's terrifying," you can practice thinking, "I don't know what's going to happen, but I trust the one who does." This is not a one-time fix. It's a daily, sometimes hourly, choice. The second practice is to look backward before you look forward. Trust is built on a track record. When you're scared about the future, take a few moments to reflect on your past. Think of all the times you were worried before. The challenges you've already faced. The difficulties you've already overcome. Can you identify moments, big or small, where you were provided for? Where a door opened? Where you found strength you didn't know you had? Where a solution appeared out of nowhere? Keep a journal of these moments. Write them down. These are your personal stones of remembrance. They are concrete evidence that you have been carried through fog before. Recalling past faithfulness builds confidence for future uncertainty. It proves that you've navigated difficult roads and survived, and you can do it again. The third practice is to focus on the immediate step, not the final destination. Let's go back to our analogy of driving in the fog. To get to your destination, you don't need to see the whole city. You just need to see the next 10 feet of road. As long as you can see those 10 feet, you can keep moving forward safely. And as you move, the next 10 feet are revealed. Fear of the future often comes from trying to figure out the whole journey at once. It's overwhelming. Instead, bring your focus back to the present. Ask yourself, what is the one, next, right thing I can do today? Maybe it's sending that one email. Maybe it's making that one phone call. Maybe it's going for a walk. Maybe it's just taking a few deep breaths and turning your anxieties into a prayer. Don't worry about step 50. Just focus on step 1. When you take step 1, the light will illuminate step 2. Trust the process. This practice keeps you grounded in the only place you have any power, the present moment. Finally, remember that this promise was given to a community. Jeremiah's letter wasn't addressed to a single person. It was addressed to the exiles, plural. There's immense power in not facing our fears alone. When you're trapped in your own head, your fears can seem enormous and insurmountable. But when you share them with a trusted friend, a family member, or a community, something amazing happens. The fear often shrinks. Speaking it out loud robs it of its power. And hearing someone else say, "Me too," is one of the most healing phrases in any language. We were not designed to carry these burdens by ourselves. Find your people. Share your fears and share your hope. Carry each other through the fog. This journey of overcoming the fear of the future is not about becoming fearless. It's about learning to fear less. It's about understanding that it's okay to not have all the answers when you know the one who does. It's about realizing that the future, which looks so uncertain to you, is held securely in hands that are crafting a plan for your ultimate good. A plan for your shalom. Your wholeness. A plan to give you hope. A plan to give you a future. So, the next time you find yourself awake at night, with the what ifs swirling around you, take a deep breath. Recall this promise. Let it be the anchor for your soul in the storm of uncertainty. The future may be unknown to you, but you are fully known by the one who holds that future. And his plans for you are good. He has a hope and a future waiting for you. Trust him, one day at a time, one step at a time. The road will appear as you walk it.